shameless plug incoming. Today's episode is brought to you by markshirts.com. Find your new favorite t-shirt today. Pre-recorded from Vulpit Studios, it's the Cult of MCS1 podcast, featuring Caleb Hanna, and now your host, MCS1.
Welcome everyone to an amazing episode of the Cult of MCS1 podcast. I'm MCS1, once again joined by my dear and loyal and favorite co-host, Caleb Hanna. What up, Caleb?
Dude, nothing.
Nothing.
You know,
wow,
just
absolutely nothing.
I stumbled up on this morning, a little drunk, probably. I don't remember. And then somehow ended up on a podcast. I don't know.
I feel that's how Joe Rogan starts his mornings.
No, dude, Joe Rogan starts his mornings with a ton of weed
and DMT. Is that what it is? That's what isn't that what he's always asking about?
Yeah, dude.
DMT.
Oh man,
I listen to like just enough Rogan to like stay up on things, but I'm not like a loyal follower. Like I listen to like the Elon Musk and the Alex Jones episode, which oh my gosh, the Alex Jones one of my favorite episodes of any podcast of all time. Like, dude, that hands down, him and Eddie Bravo was just like, it's just amazingly crazy. It was like a train wreck, but good, I guess.
I don't know what you call that. Like a train. I don't know. Like it's like a train wreck, only with like one of those Japanese bullet trains that have no people on it. It's like a robot, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
So it's like, oh yeah, it's a train wreck, but nobody died. So
a train wreck with no risk.
Right. Yeah, so it's like really cool fireworks, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
kind of a thing, right?
So
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, we have a very interesting show today. It's pretty interesting. Like when I told it to Caleb, I think he was like, okay, kind of thing. It wasn't like a like with our VidAngel shows, like those make absolute sense, like 100% sense. And then this one's like, it kind of fits in our wheelhouse, but not really. But
it's interesting though, and it's a good way to expand.
It doesn't feel like when you hear it at first, it doesn't sound like it's in our wheelhouse, but it actually is once we get into it.
Yeah.
So
everybody who doesn't think it's good.
Yeah, mostly Shane Barker. So our topic today, and this is very unorthodox and crazy, but I just love it, is it's okay to hate Amazon. It's not okay to hate Amazon. That's not what I meant to say. It's now cool to hate Amazon. That's the cool thing now.
Yeah, and to be clear, we're not talking about the forest.
No. We're talking about the company, obviously. But I also just want to say, I like how we went from covering an in-depth legal battle.
Yeah.
With a shady Utah company.
Yeah.
Saying how it's now just cool to hate a giant business conglomerate. Yeah, I just like the contrast.
Based out of Arizona. Also, I don't really understand why they're called Amazon. I haven't done a lot of research into it, but I'm just like, why?
Yeah, I don't either. But something interesting. Let's talk about like Amazon from the beginning.
Yes.
As well, before I get into my interesting point, because this will like touch perfectly on it. So Amazon from the beginning was like selling books, basic books.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of knows this, college students especially. Like that was a place to buy cheap textbooks or cheaper textbooks and then sell them back on Amazon about maybe 15 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. And then I knew someone who was trying to sell their books back on Amazon. It was like their roommate, and their roommate got flagged for some reason, was not allowed to sell. And they received a letter informing them they wouldn't sell, and it was from the Amazon Alliance.
Huh.
And that was just an interesting title, like the Amazon Alliance. I think they've kind of gotten away from that. But I just thought it was always a very, odd term.
Yeah, that is an interesting term.
So eventually Amazon like grew and they became this giant, crazy company that they are today.
Right.
And you basically could get nearly anything you want on Amazon. Nearly anything. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's cool. Don't get me wrong.
It's cool, but my favorite thing that I had on my Amazon wish list for years, and anyone who knows me is kind of like probably snickering right now because they know what I'm going to say, I had on there a 55-gallon drum of lube on there. And it like went for like $1,200 or something like that. And I just had it on there for fun. And I was joke like, yeah, I got that, that 55-gallon drum of lube on Amazon, on my Amazon wish list. You want to buy it for me? And it was just like my running gag for a long time. I eventually deleted it, type of thing. I mostly had it on there to read the reviews because they were hilarious.
Yeah, you deleted it right before I was about to buy it for you.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me go re-add this back.
No, it's too late now.
Too late now. But yeah, Amazon eventually became like this crazy giant conglomerate, like super duper freaking huge. And not only for sales of just general shit, we're talking digital stuff too. Like Kindle, for example. I was a huge Kindle user in about the time I met you, Caleb.
Yeah.
And in fact,
sounds about right.
The first book I bought on Kindle, it was In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks by Adam Carolla. And it was one of my favorite books. It still is kind of one of my favorite books. It's just random comedy and stuff like that. And for those that don't know, Adam Carolla has a podcast.
One of the biggest ones, honestly.
One of the biggest ones. He had the guest record for most downloads, if he still doesn't have it. He beat out Ricky Gervais a while ago for his, and I think he still has the record, but I don't know. I haven't been following up on it. But Adam Carolla's book was kind of like the inspiration what I was going to use to write a similar book on my views on things. But eventually the stars kind of aligned, and we ended up getting an opportunity for the podcast back when we were on gosh, Caleb, what was it?
My University Life or whatever?
This University Life.
This University Life.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago at least.
Holy shit, man.
At least 7, 8 years ago. Holy shit. So,
that is forever ago. Oh,
but
my.
in a way, like, Amazon kind of like gave birth to this show, kind of vaguely. Not really. So, yeah, and Kindle was huge for me, and like I got all my books Kindle, like everything, and I'm not very big on paper, as for people know, like paper books, like I do everything digital, which we're gonna get into in a little bit as well, especially like with my new minimalist lifestyle that I've kind of just adopted. It's like anything that I can get digital, like music, books, audio books, PDFs, blah blah blah, I get digital, like always. Movies too. Like, it's just what I'm into. But Amazon is very big in the digital space, and they just kept growing. Like, there are these are known as ecosystems, I guess the best way of describing it. Like, there's Apple, Android, and now there's kind of Amazon a little bit. Amazon still uses like the Android stuff, but they're still very much like their own little system. Because Alexa, for example.
Right.
Alexa is one example. Microsoft is also its own ecosystem, but they've kind of gotten away from it since they've gotten out of the phone game,
right.
as well. So it's basically a ecosystem is kind of like a company that you can store a lot of shit in. Android for Google, obviously Apple for Apple, and then Microsoft is Windows type of stuff. So that's kind of very interesting that Amazon's kind of like its little sub ecosystem, because you have Audible for your books, and then like audiobooks, and then Kindle for your regular digital books, and then there's like Amazon Video stuff type of thing, which is also just very crazy as well. And then like if you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you get like videos that you can watch on Amazon Video for free, as well as other perks. Like with Audible, you get and this is not a plug or advertisement for Amazon, by the way. This is just letting you know what's out there.
Right. This is purely informational.
Purely informational. They're not paying me shit for this right now. This is just to let people know some of the stuff that happens. So with Prime, you also get like a ton of photo storage as well. I mean, it's just insane. And then the other thing I do love about Amazon Prime is some of the Amazon Prime original shows are really cool. I'm really into The Man in the High Castle. The Tick was a good series, and recently The Boys has been like my favorite jam. It's an amazing show, but we're not here to talk about that. But as you can kind of tell, Amazon just big empire. And then, in addition to all that digital shit, there's even more digital shit that is going on. They have server farms. Did you know this, Caleb?
I actually, so with where I work now, we kind of actually work a lot with Amazon with their server farms, honestly.
Yeah, and
So,
lots of people do. A company that I worked for, they
right.
were Amazon servers as well. So
hmm
that's and honestly, Amazon server farms, that's actually kind of their huge money maker, which gets
Right,
even more
right.
crazy, and which we'll talk about later on. So as you can tell, there's just this giant conglomerate where you can get everything, nearly anything, and you can get it within like 2 days with Amazon Prime. Now, the way Amazon Prime works from the consumer, not consumer side, let's go into more of a manufacturer side. I used to work at a company, the marketing firm that I was at for a while. They did Amazon fulfillment. And basically, the way it works is we would have like a ton of our stock, let's say shirts, t shirts. By the way, if you're looking for a new t shirt or whatever, go to markshirts.com. Anyway,
Shameless plug.
shameless plug. So we would take a lot of t shirts and then we would send them into Amazon and we would send them into different warehouses across the US. And they would store them there. That way they could get product to a person who ordered that quick. That's how they were able to do it. And then Amazon would charge storage fees for it as well. And that kind of sucked a little bit. But I mean, that's just kind of like the nature of it. And a lot of companies these days have moved towards using Amazon to sell their stuff rather than their own actual website because a lot of people these days, like the average consumer, if they want something, they don't search it on Google anymore and they don't search on Bing ever. They just go.
Yeah, that was never a thing.
Yeah. They just search it on Amazon for their product and they add to their Amazon wish list or buy it. Also, Caleb, have I ever told you about the story I got banned from Bing ad rewards or whatever? Or search rewards? Have I told you about this? So
No, but this
I
sounds
found a
amazing.
Bing oh, this is pretty good. I found a Bing rewards bot because Bing, like, if you search so many things and you use Bing, they would like give you rewards and stuff like that. So you had to search it daily, and like every 2 weeks, you'd rack up enough for a $3 Amazon gift card. And so I found a Bing ads reward bot, or not ad rewards, Bing search bot,
Sure.
and it would just rack up stuff for me. And I used it for about 3-4 months, then I finally got banned from using it after I made out with like $20 of Amazon credit.
Hooray!
Hooray! So yeah, Amazon everywhere. But so with these warehouses, that's how people get their stuff so quickly from all over the US and in some cases the world as
Hmm,
well, which is kind of insane to think about. But kind of cool. They've started to move towards their own delivery system as well for this type of
Interesting.
stuff. And they're just huge, like just insanely huge. Now that we've established that they are insanely huge, we're going to shit all over them.
Yeah, because fuck
So,
those dudes.
yeah, fuck those dudes. So, so here's some crazy stuff about Amazon. Everyone knows about the insane amount of corruption and all that. They know about the warehouse workers
Right.
and bots replacing, lame people jobs that no one really wants in the first place, but some people, don't have the skills to get other jobs. I get
Yeah,
that. So
sometimes it's just a little bit of a side gig thing to get yourself back on your feet or something, right? I
yeah,
mean,
and so people are mad about a lot of things, that type of corruption. We get that. What a lot of people don't know, no, hold up. What some people don't know is Amazon does not pay taxes.
right. I think, yeah, maybe
And this,
some people. It's pretty common knowledge, right?
yeah, it's kind of common knowledge depending on
Because
your
there's
field.
that big deal. When was that? Back in like 2012, I think it was, or 13 maybe. I don't remember, but there was this big thing where like Amazon got into it with Colorado because Colorado was like, "Nah, dude, you're not going to do stuff in our state without taxes." And we were like, "Okay, then we're not going to do stuff in your state. Enjoy."
Yeah, and so they don't pay taxes. And this is a common thing in a lot of tech companies too, and big conglomerates. Netflix doesn't pay taxes.
Which is ironic because they make you pay taxes.
Yeah, very ironic. Our president doesn't pay taxes, or he may. I don't know.
I mean,
Um,
who knows, really?
who knows? Who knows? I
I
mean,
don't pay taxes. What?
Caleb Hennon does not pay taxes.
Sorry. Could you
Um,
redact that name,
those
please?
libertarian views are coming out full force, people.
Because fuck those taxes.
Fuck those taxes. So, I mean, so Amazon's not paying taxes. Okay. Lots of companies that are large aren't, and that's just kind of crazy. But there's a couple reasons for this. One reason is they quote can't afford to,
Yeah,
and they don't.
that's a stupid reason, honestly. Like,
Well,
there's a lot of reasons not to pay taxes. That's a dumb one.
yeah, and I wouldn't really say this is like a real reason. It's kind of like a fake reason.
Yeah,
Kind of like,
yeah.
Mark, why aren't you gonna hang out with us tonight? And it's like, oh, I got stuff to do. It's
I would
it's
literally never believe that ever.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Well, yeah, and that's why no one believes the Amazon thing. But it's like that equivalent. It's like, Amazon, why aren't you paying taxes? It's like, oh, I got stuff to do, things to buy. Can't
It's
afford them
too
taxes.
expensive
Too expensive.
for us, even though our CEO was the wealthiest man on earth.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. So yeah, and the reason this is done because in a lot of these tech companies, they have investors, and they don't have to pay those investors back unless they turn a profit.
Right.
Well, it's like, well, if we're not really turning a profit, it's like we don't have to pay them back. Well, it's like, okay, well, how's that explain the taxes? One, kind of really doesn't. But actually, no, it does. Because if they're not turning a profit, they don't have to pay taxes. Well, how are they not turning a profit when they're selling basically everything? Well, here's how that works. They're basically undercutting and sometimes even losing money. They're just trying to undercut the competition. And they're
Right.
not doing it by much. They're doing it just enough to undercut them and win. And
Right.
one way that Amazon does do this is Caleb, you seen the Amazon Essentials or Amazon's like own brand or whatever
Right. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have? Yeah. What they will do is they will create their own version of something. Like they'll take like this microphone that I'm talking into right now. This is called a Blue Yeti. Caleb is using a Blue Snowball.
Right.
And we love these mics a lot, and we're pretty. I wouldn't say we're like loyal to the brand or whatever, but we love them. Like
But
we've
yeah,
used these.
they're great.
They're
They're
great,
really
and
easy to
we've used them
use.
for a long time. They're durable. They're great. Well, so Amazon has their own version of the Blue Yeti or whatever, and it's just slightly cheaper.
Mm.
And it's basically what they'll do. And there's a term in marketing, it's called R&D, and it doesn't stand for research and development. It's called rob and duplicate.
Right.
And so what Amazon will do is take like the Blue Yeti mic, and they'll give it to a bunch of engineers, and like, here, nerds, remake this but cheaper.
Right.
And the nerds will be like, okay. And so they'll
How much will you pay us?
Yeah.
More than you're worth. Okay, thanks.
do we have to pay taxes on this, or will you? And so
Irrelevant.
So they'll basically make their own product off of an already existing product, release it on Amazon, which
Mhm.
Blue is already like selling their mics on there. And so
Right.
they're like, WT fuck, Amazon, what are you doing? We were here first. And Amazon's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And since Amazon's kind of the main platform for their sales, it's like they just gotta roll with it
Yeah.
or try to
Yeah.
sue.
And that's kind of the big uh obviously that's one of the biggest points of corruption in the Amazon like system is that they honestly, because I mean it's funny because I mean there's obviously everybody knows about like the Walmart brand of things is garbage, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
like the Amazon brand of things is like pretty good.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
not it's not like super duper high quality, but it's like
it's
slightly
good
better.
enough though. Like that's the thing is it's like with Walmart it's like you don't buy Walmart stuff because you know that shit's going to break.
Yeah.
But you can buy like the Amazon stuff and it's like, yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, and
You
it's
know?
crazy because there's also what's called Amazon's Choice. Like when you
Right.
search something, Amazon's Choice, it's like there's like this weird algorithm or whatever to pick this. Well,
Mhm.
most of the time when you search an Amazon's Choice, it's an Amazon Essentials product.
Of course it is.
It's like giving yourself the Nobel Peace Prize It is it's basically it's basically a circle jerk right there at
Right.
that point. And it's like just giving yourself an award and it's like I'm the best. I have the award to prove it that I gave myself. But the problem is people don't look at that. And it's like the fine print. They're like, oh snap, this is cheap. Oh, it's got a ton of reviews, which may not be fabricated by Amazon. And
And
so
most likely are.
most likely are, totally are. Most reviews are fabricated in general.
Yeah.
Um, that's one thing I learned about working in a marketing firm. But people will, just see the stars like, oh, 5 stars, 100% perfect. Nothing sketchy about this. It's from Amazon. I trust
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Buy. And shows up at their door 2 weeks later. It's like, honey, I got that mic. I can record that fantasy football podcast I've been wanting to do.
Oh my gosh.
Because one thing the world needs, it's another fantasy football podcast.
Literally, if there's one thing the world needs, it's to stop playing fantasy football and pretend like it's not Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh man, it's seriously fantasy football is just Dungeons and Dragons for bros.
It totally is, dude.
Totally is.
Like when you oh man, I got invited to be in this fantasy football thing at work this year, and I was like, yeah, I
Hard
don't
pass.
really play fantasy football, and they were like, oh, but you like sports, and I was like, yeah, but I don't like
You.
you. No. Yeah, fuck those dudes. No, I was like, no, I just don't like playing old school Dungeons and Dragons at work. And they were like, no, that's not what it is. And I was like, dude, it's totally what it is. You get a bunch of
Yeah.
guys, you weigh their stats together, and you roll a dice on whether or not it's going to work out.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
And that's basically what this is.
Yeah. So, back to Amazon Essentials,
Amazon, yeah.
brands, all that type of stuff. It's like they created this giant conglomerate market. Now they're controlling it, and the people that are trying to sell on it to just have their products work and be sold are getting cheated out. And like that totally, it's terrible. But there really isn't many other avenues to pursue this. But
Right.
when we think of like businesses, like small businesses, we always think of like, oh, the mom and pop store down the street.
Right.
Selling stuff. Well, they're selling their shit on Amazon these days, and this
Yeah,
is
most
what
of 'em are.
Amazon is doing to them. It's either that or their Etsy store, which
Right. Mhm. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, Etsy store.
yeah. So
Which, sure,
sure,
I'll
yeah.
go to your Etsy store and have my identity stolen.
What? But yeah, so that's what Amazon is doing. They're doing all this R&D stuff and then just barely undercutting the competition to where they don't make a profit, but then they got the market and the whole thing and just taking it over.
Right.
Well, now here is where it gets super fucked up. And I don't know if Caleb, did you know, like when I sent you those links earlier today, did you know about this? Like what we're gonna
No. Well, I mean, I only knew the only thing that I had really heard was that he was saying that they would be ending, but like I didn't even know. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
you
even
know.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
you
know.
know.
I didn't even know that he was like saying within 5 years. Like that's insane
Okay, so
to
for
me.
those that are like massively confused right now, Amazon is gonna go bankrupt eventually.
Yeah,
We
which
don't
is
know
what
when.
according
We don't know
according
when, and
to
we're not gonna be like, "Hey, everyone, you heard it here first. Amazon going bankrupt tomorrow." We don't know, but
Yeah.
and you can find this on a simple Google search, and it's just gonna kind of blow your mind. Amazon knows it's going to go bankrupt. The
Yeah.
question is not how, it's when.
right.
And Jeff
And Jeff Bezos, yeah, he's saying a lot of not crazy stuff, but a lot of stuff about that.
Yeah, and one thing that like um not like surprised me, but kind of I don't know, really stuck with me was that like he does not believe that Amazon is too big to fail.
Mhm.
And in a way I really admire that, to be honest.
Sure, it's
But in a
realistic.
way I'm scared. Not because it's like, oh, I'll lose my convenience of getting some toothpaste shipped to my apartment, in 2 days after I ordered it, which
Right.
happened today, type of
I
thing.
mean, and because I mean, there are probably other services where that could happen too.
There are,
right?
yeah. I mean, there are alternatives to Amazon. Don't get me wrong. Like one brandless is a cheap alternative to Amazon with tons of stuff that's like high quality, doesn't have a brand really attached to it, and it's decent stuff, and it's usually fairly inexpensive. That's a good one. For computer stuff, it's all Newegg. Newegg
Yeah,
is a good
Newegg is a
one.
big one. I love
Yeah,
Newegg.
a great one. Yeah, don't go to Best Buy. Best Buy is just Amazon window shopping or Newegg window shopping. Like let's be real. But I mean, there are always alternatives for something. But then, like for me, I have spent a decent chunk of change on getting a lot of digital books on Kindle. And it's like, well, that might not be around in a couple of years. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's just like super crazy to think about that Amazon could be gone one day. And then like you think about Audible as
Right.
well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Audible, like all my audiobooks, it's like, well, crap, I got like 15, 20 audiobooks. It's like, man, but that could be gone one day.
Right.
Like that could go under. And it's crazy to think about because it's such a giant company,
Right.
which is just like insane to think about, like something going down. Now, also, this thing of a digital provider going under is not very uncommon. It's kind of happening a lot more. Example, the streaming video service Ultraviolet went down earlier this year.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah,
I
and
forgot
all
about
this
that.
stuff went over to I think Vudu is where it went all over to.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm all about digital movie codes. Like I don't buy movies in DVDs or Blu-rays anymore unless I can't avoid it. I'm all about the digital codes and things like that. That way I can have it like on my phone or my computer and I can access it anywhere there's Wi-Fi. And
Right.
it's less definitely it's less space. Same reason I do digital books and stuff like that. So it's just crazy to see that company Ultraviolet go under, and they went under in like April, and I had like maybe about 12 movie titles, mostly X-Men movies, transfer all over to Voodoo.
Right.
And I don't know if here's the other thing, I don't know if the same type of thing's going to happen when Amazon goes under.
Yeah, and the problem there though is where would it transfer to?
Yeah, I think the
You
Barnes
know?
and Noble Nook is not doing too great right
Yeah, I
now.
don't think so either.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, what e-reader is there? And then it's like, well, Goodreads a little bit, but Goodreads is kind of its own little independent site. I guess that could be something, but it's just that's the main thing. Eventually, this could be gone.
Right.
And the thing is, Jeff Bezos is kind of planning on it being gone. He
Yeah.
knows, like,
Which is crazy.
crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So, we're hearing all this stuff about corruption and stuff like that. And my main thing is with this, I'm not telling people to go boycott Amazon or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. My thing is don't get overly invested in their ecosystem,
Right.
like for
Yeah.
their Kindle and their Audible and stuff like that. I recommend not getting overly invested in it. That's the stance and the message that I'm trying to give. And that's kind of what I'm, taking away from it. Like when I saw the article about this, and here's the thing: these articles, they're not like brand new. They're
No,
like,
yeah. Months old at least.
yeah, months old. Like I would say early 2019, maybe late 2018
Yeah.
for these, which is crazy to think about. And it's kind of odd that these haven't gotten like as much traction. But at the same time, with all like the other crazy stuff that happens, like with the day-to-day Trump presidency, I'm kind of not surprised.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd think that okay, let's be serious. Most people care about convenience more than they care about a lot of other things, right? And so,
Correct.
I mean, this is like basically one of the largest convenience providers is saying, "Hey, yeah, listen, we got 5 years and then we're done."
Yeah, and that's kind of a big deal. Like we didn't get that type of warning with Blockbuster.
Yeah, all my Blockbuster stock is terrible now.
Do you have Blockbuster stock?
No, I don't have Blockbuster stock. Come on, man.
I thought you would have bought some as a joke. I mean, there are Enron stock tickets on eBay, so
There was a time when I thought about buying Blockbuster stock, and then I remembered, wait, I'm not a complete dumbass.
oh man, oh Blockbuster. But yeah, so and you, it's interesting that you mentioned the convenience factor of things with with service providers.
Right, right,
And my thing is, even though like I know a lot of stuff like my that like Amazon's corruption,
right.
for example, and that they're going under and stuff like that. Does my quote wokeness or me being woke outweigh my sense of convenience? And it kind of it didn't for a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like my wokeness definitely didn't outweigh my convenience until I heard that it's gonna be shutting. That I mean, it's not. There's nothing official announced in the news. Like there's not even a Facebook hoax going on around about this. So that's how I know it's
Yet.
not gonna happen yet. It's now been said on the news. Um that it hasn't really started yet, but it's probably gonna happen.
Right.
And so I wasn't like gonna quit shopping at Amazon or buying things, and I wasn't gonna quit pumping stuff into my Kindle account or my Audible account until I heard they were going under. That's and it started to affect me in that direct way. I was like, I gotta back off. So I
Yeah.
am slowly working like all my digital stuff. None of it will be Amazon any longer because it's like I don't know if it's gonna stick around type of thing, which is a crazy thing to think about.
Right, right. Which, I mean, I'll be honest, I definitely when it comes to the, wokeness thing, I honestly
It's so funny because we're like super white and we're both saying woke.
I I just love the word, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
No, but, like, I honestly I, like, don't pay attention, like, there's all these people, all the time that will say stuff like, "Oh, these people are terrible, we shouldn't buy things from them," and then I'm like, "Yeah, but I like their things,
And it
so."
kind of depends because I'm the opposite of you. I
Mhm.
am one of those people that are like, I'm gonna buy from them because they did XY type of
Sure.
thing. And
I just yeah.
there's an app called Buycott
Uh-huh.
where you can like scan like the UPC of something or a product, and you can see if the company's like ethical or not, or crazy shit they did or haven't done.
Sure, sure.
And I download it and I delete it after I ain't get this. But
Mhm.
it's still like a really interesting idea because people don't want to buy companies that support, really shitty stuff. Like
Sure,
me, for
sure.
example, I am very anti Walmart for many, many reasons. Like Walmart is terrible. I hate its business model. I hate the people like that it employs. I feel like they just kind of don't have like a real grasp on reality. They treat people like shit. They have a special executive that they fly out to bust up unions. That's how hardcore they are to keep people away from having like a type of unionization or excess rights. And then well, they just act like it's kind of like if Big Brother took over. Like that's how I view
Didn't they
Walmart. We're the
already?
company.
Or
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. So,
I mean, Facebook, right?
yeah,
They're around.
Facebook, I mean, I hate them
Is
too, but
is basically Big Brother.
it is, but I got rid of Facebook is the thing. I got rid of most
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media except Reddit, which can be debated, and
I don't really know if that is social media
yeah,
though.
like I said,
It's more
it's a
just shit posting,
it's
right?
mostly shit posting, which is kind of what I do. I made the front page. I haven't really mentioned this much yet on air, but I mentioned it like in a little side episode. I made the front page of Reddit for a shit post once, like an anti MLM shit post,
That's hilarious.
and
Well,
it
Reddit
was
Reddit does hate MLMs. We'll just say
yeah.
that for sure.
I will. I think I'll post on the Cult of MCS1 podcast or cultofmcs1.com. I'll put like a little note in there for the like the front page post that I got, and then I kind of was bragging to my friends, and I outed myself, and so I basically end up deleting the account and starting a new one. I can be found on Reddit at the Cult of MCS1, and that is not a joke. I literally can
That is
now
awesome.
for so a new one. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have today. Caleb, do you have any?
I mean, the only last thing that I wanted to point out, and this is just something that kind of caught my eye. It's kind of and it's not really like a direct thing that Bezos is saying, but it does kind of seem like he's basically putting a plan in place to not just like allow Amazon to go bankrupt, but to kind of like force them to go bankrupt while he, finds other things, to invest in basically. And so it's kind of this,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just kind of this interesting thing. Obviously he's not going to be blatant about it, but anyway, it's just, keep an eye on that obviously to see how much he comes away with is what I would say.
yeah, and that's something I'm gonna definitely be watching. With Lex Luthor IRL. Anyway, that's our show. I want to thank Caleb for coming on,
Always.
and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Cult of MCS1 podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a rating on Apple Podcast, Google Play, or whatever podcasting platform you listen to. For more information about the show notes and links, head over to thecultofmcs1.com or search AOL keyword MCS1.